So today is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. It is 7:01 p.m. and this is the meeting of the Finance Committee. Kevin.
Here.
Paula.
Here.
Steve. No, Steve. Trace.
Here.
Sandy.
Here.
Joe.
Here.
Bill.
Here.
Paul.
Here. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Cody. He's away. And Zach.
Here.
And I too am here. We'll see if Steve jumps in. If he does, if someone could just type it into the chat what time he arrived, that'd be great. So since we don't see Mike yet, Bill, being the seasoned FinCom professional that he is, suggested that we do some minutes, and there's really nothing I'd rather do. Let me find them. I knew we were going to do September 19th, September 26th, and October 3rd. Does that sound accurate?
Yes.
Is that the ones I sent you?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, let's start with September 19th. Does anyone have anything to add, to amend, to edit? Have at it. Hi, Mike. We just started with some minutes, so we'll just get through one and then jump back. Any comments on the September 19th, 2022 minutes? Kevin, I just saw that your name was spelled wrong, so I fixed it. I also saw that these are pretty short, but I also saw that on the second page, it says Ms. Sawyer moves to recommend no action on Article 5 when it meant 4. And then the above one was 5. So that's it, I think. All right. If there are no further comments, then the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes for September 19th, 2022 as written with the small amendments or changes that I just suggested.
So moved.
That's a lot of moving.
I'll second. Lots of movements in seconds.
Poor Anne is going to have to sort that one out when she watches the video back. Hearing a motion and a second, I will take a roll call vote to accept minutes. Kevin.
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
Steve. He did not jump in. Trace.
Abstain.
Sandy.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Paul.
Same.
Okay. Cody. Not here. Okay. Zach.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Mike, take it away.
All right. First, we have the finance, recreation. Let me share my screen. Let me get
Hi,
that.
Melissa.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right. All right, is that up?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you zoom that in, Mike?
I will. All right, so for recreation, we have the big staff of Melissa for part-time wages, $28,249. And then expenses, most of the expenses have stayed pretty much the same. Electricity has gone up, one of the larger ones, and also repair maintenance of equipment a $200 increase. And repair maintenance of grounds, $1,000 increase. So the expenses have gone up from $16,650 to $17,550. And I know Melissa's on, and she can tell you a little bit more about the Recreation Commission.
Hi.
Melissa, the floor is
Yep.
yours.
Oh, thank you. Recreation Committee, we actually have a meeting tomorrow night. We're gearing up for the egg hunt this weekend, and then we're going to talk about the pool and memberships and summer plans going forward. Being on the job 6 weeks, I don't have a whole lot to add right now to the budget you're looking at, but hopefully we can get that approved, and I'll come back with some more great ideas for next year.
All right. Any questions for Melissa?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Melissa, I know you're new, but there was some talk that the school department would be donating the tennis courts at the middle school to the recreation department. Thoughts on that? And will you be looking for capital moving forward to, I guess, convert them to pickleball?
I think that would be fabulous. I did talk
Uh-oh. Melissa? I see her still on the screen, but her screen went
Well,
black.
we got it would be fabulous, so I guess that's good.
I mean, you had a great idea, Zach. That's really all she wanted to say. Let's give her a sec. See if she pops back in.
so we wouldn't.
Oh. Melissa, I see you. I don't hear you. You're on mute.
There we go. Okay, my phone just did something very weird. Can you hear me now?
It did. We lost you. We saw you still had a box, but then you were not.
Okay.
Okay, now
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, fabulous. So we're trying to do the documentation and everything. It would be mid-spring that we would probably get the tennis courts and the pickleball. I think for this first go round, we can probably do a little hodgepodge, but I think there's a great potential to do pickleball. So if there was some money for capital improvement on that, that would be fabulous. I've had a couple people reach out already about pickleball. It's a growing sport. I think it would be awesome. I'd also, oops, sorry, that's a cat. She wants to help. With the two, I think we would have the 3 tennis courts and turn 2 of the tennis courts into pickleball. I'm going to be looking at potentially like tennis lessons in the summer and or tennis league or something in the evenings for adults and that kind of thing. So I think there's really a lot of potential that we can use for the community with those tennis courts.
All right. Are there lights over there? Do we know?
I don't believe there's lights, but now with the new
She's frozen, right? Because you all look frozen too. Melissa.
there we
There you
go. I'm sorry, I don't know what is going on.
It happens. Sorry about it. You're doing great. So we don't
Okay.
think there are lights.
No lights, but there will be ample parking so that they don't need to park in the middle school parking lot next to Centennial Park.
Yes.
And then people can just walk on the grass, or hopefully we can work with Highway to get a pathway put in from the new parking lot right over to the side.
Gotcha. Cool.
And I think my phone just froze again.
It did, but oh, you're back again.
So
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Paul.
So Melissa, if you're looking to do that conversion of the courts, I don't imagine the courts are that well maintained right now. So I think Zach had a good point as to whether or not you need to have something set aside for that, or whether you're gonna push it down the road to the fall.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
So the courts themselves, I can't imagine that that well maintained right now, and if that's the case, you're gonna try to convert them over to pickleball course, there is gonna be an expense to that.
I have seen, I know Foxborough just painted lines on the tennis court, so we may be able to work with Keith just to get it up and going if we can just paint the lines on there. But I would really like to look into some funding, maybe see about the pickleball league chipping in some, and just doing some fundraising. But some capital money would be amazing if we could get that.
Maybe something to look at in the fall, Madam Chair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for Melissa? All right. Well, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
All right, next I see, we'll do accounting. And
Where'd James go? There he is.
he's there.
James, thank you for taking your time out from the beach. Be here.
It looks better than the mess I have here right now.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Right, so for my budget, it's pretty much the same as the year before. Mike did reduce the part-time wages a little bit. We had a retirement in the office a couple of weeks ago. Our part-time clerk retired, so we're hoping we can find one at a lower rate, hourly rate. So that's why there is a slight cut over there. The rest of the salary items is for me and my assistant. And those are, like I said, same as pretty much the year before. Other than the contractual increases. The next line is the annual audit. That went up $2,000 from last year, and that's due to the audits are getting harder now because of all of the ARPA money that we've received, all of the federal funds. So the auditors increased slightly their fees. And then as far as general expenses, Mike cut me a little bit, I guess. I'm down to $3,420 for general expenses. And that covers mileage reimbursements, seminars and conferences, and membership fees for the associations that I belong to. And office supplies is $900. We're now doing the book binding in-house. So we reduce the budget there in book binding and slightly the seminars and conferences, but not by much. I only go to 2 conferences a year, pretty much, one in March and the other one in June. And last year I spent $1,722.90, and that was me missing a couple of days of the conferences. They're usually 3-day long. I only was able to go for 2 days. So I believe $1,950 will get me to where I need to be for next year. Other than that, any questions, let me know.
It should be noted, James's expenses were not cut by Mike.
What happened to the $42?
You say $42. Okay,
He
you guys
did,
need to
he
take
did
that.
say that.
You guys need to take that offline. Any questions for James? Going once. Wow, James, got it easy.
That's good, always good.
Yes. Say hi to Marianne for me. How about that?
I will do that.
Thank
And
you.
if you know anybody interested in applying to work part-time in my office, it's about 17 hours a week, flexible hours. Send them my way.
Alrighty, will do.
Thank you.
Okay, James.
Thanks.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Joe?
Is our intention to vote on any of these tonight?
Well, typically we go through everything before voting
Okay.
on anything, even though we do have Mike's recommendations. So that's kind of the assumption I was operating under.
Fair enough.
Next is select board. And select board has the one staff person and part-time wages to fill in on vacation or anything else that might happen, longevity pay and incentive pay, and then expenses. I reduced expenses, but the request was 33,660. I've reduced that a little bit, but that'll be later when you guys start reviewing and voting on budgets.
All right. Any questions about the select board budget? It should be noted that there is no line to actually pay the select board members other than
Correct.
now. Yeah. So it's a misnomer. You can see that being confused somewhere.
Yeah.
On social media. All right. No questions?
Okay.
We can move on.
Next is town manager. We have two staff people, myself and my assistant, and the expenses are slightly higher. Well, I'm not on the expenses yet. Expenses are a little bit lower, the request, than what was requested in this current budget. And then my recommendation will be lower than that when we get to that.
Any questions?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Bill.
Mike, what's contracted services?
Contracted services, that's what we're using, two purposes. One is any HR consulting services that we need. And the second one is for grant assistance. So when people apply for grants, sometimes they'll need some consultant help, maybe an engineer or to help them with their grant, and that's what we use that for.
And so far this year, you've used very little?
So far, we've had to use very little this year, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Town manager 123.
Next is the big budget.
Oh, this is where the big bucks are.
Finance committee, clerical services for your clerk, and I hope I think Ann's doing a great job. I hope you agree. She's seems very good at the minutes.
She is
And-
very thorough.
Yep.
Any questions about the finance committee budget?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Joe.
I'm sure I should know this, but what do we advertise?
The public hearing,
Okay.
And then we have so much turnout, so it's clearly worth it. All right, legal? Oh, where are we jumping to next?
municipal building. So just some of the ones that may need purchase of services, that's cleanings, services, and trash pickup. Then our electricity, propane, natural gas, water and sewer fees, repair maintenance on buildings, and then supplies and copiers, costs. Miscellaneous expense.
What does the pink and the blue mean? The blue looks like reductions,
Yes,
and
I
then
don't have pink. Oh, just,
on the left column.
I don't know why those are pink, to be honest.
Okay, but one of them is 0, so doesn't appear to be very significant. Any questions about municipal building 182?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Bill.
This is probably a question maybe a little too early. Did we ever do like a pro forma to what municipal building, I'm assuming that's the town hall, what the new town hall is gonna cost us in the future? Like, is this gonna go way up, way down?
We did. It'll go up somewhat. Obviously, we'll lose a lot in the repair maintenance of buildings. And I know we did work on the maintenance cost. We expect electricity to go down. We expect the building to be much more efficient. And also the natural gas should go down. I'm not even sure we'll have natural gas for the building. I think it may be all electric.
Thank you.
Welcome. And the building, we're looking to have the select board award a contract for the construction of the new town hall on Thursday night. And the low bidder came in at almost 2 million below estimate. So,
Good to hear.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Bill.
in today's world, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
well, my thoughts always were that when we were looking at the estimates, I kept telling people, remember, the estimators aren't trying to win the project. They look better if it comes in under, so let's wait and see what the bids come in. And the senior center was 1 million under, and the town hall almost 2 million under. And it's probably is reflected of the fact that people think construction is gonna be slowing down, obviously, with the higher interest rates, so they're more willing to jump on.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, time for legal.
Legal services, just looking for $70,000 again.
Any questions about 151 legal?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Zach.
Mike, you spent 100 last year. Why do you think it's going to go down?
It may not, we just don't know. You know, it's something we can look at and where we're at in the fall if we have to add more. I think we may be coming for a reserve fund transfer again this year. But we just never know what we're gonna have for cases and.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Joe.
I suspect I know the answer to this, Mike, but do you have a feel for where we were last year on December 31st? Is this 20, let's say 29,000 higher or lower than that, or?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Where's our FinCom historian, Peter Wiggins, to tell us that?
Exactly. I was just trying to, see if we could, I know that it's
Good.
not, it's not a perfect guess, but, if we were ahead or behind of where we were last.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Bill.
Mike, does a lot of this get spent historically fighting 40Bs? And with the last couple of projects that are either been built or are in the process, are we at that 10% where we no longer have to fight?
We are over our 10% now, with the last projects that were approved. We really haven't had, this year, we haven't had any new 40Bs. And as I said, we're over the 10%. So if someone comes in now, we're not obligated. We could still, the planning board could recommend approval of a, say, an apartment building with an affordable component in it, just to keep us above our 10%. But we are just slightly over it now.
If we're over it now,
Mhm.
if there's anything that's been approved historically but hasn't been started, can you then fight it?
We can't. This has been our argument all along. We tried to get the legislature to do special legislation on it. Is that projects? It's so frustrating. Projects that are, when they get approved, they have 2 years to get built or permitted and built to stay on our count. They take them off the count if they're not moving forward, so they don't count towards our 10%, but the state still continues to give them extensions. And our argument with the state was, if you're going to count them, if you're going to keep giving them extensions, they should count on our 10%, but they don't work. It doesn't work that way.
Madam Chair?
Thank you.
I heard two people.
Madam Chair? Yeah.
Paul?
But Mike, do we actually have the 10% built then? Because it's already been built, and we still just have it approved that haven't been built yet.
We have the 10% with built and approved. So the 101 units, for example, next to McDonald's that are under construction, they're counting right now because they're within the 2 years. And also counting is the project down next to Alberto's that hasn't started, but it will count for 2 years. And I'm not sure what happens with our 10% if that one's off. I'd have to look at it.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Mike, where do you expect the rest of from the 28, 29 to the 70? Is there anything coming up we plan to use the balance for? Anything coming on the pipe you're aware of?
I know it's going to be used up just for regular legal services that, there's a couple lawsuits. We still have a long planning board appeal that's been going on for years that we're spending money on, and review of town meeting articles, review of the zoning articles, things like that.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Zach.
Mike, I thought I saw someplace, correct me if I'm wrong, that there was a new policy on legal services. Has that been adopted by the select board, or is that still being kicked around?
Nope, it was adopted at the last select board meeting.
Any other questions for legal services? That seems to be it.
All right. So what else do we have? We've done. We already did memorial and vets, I believe, with the veterans agent, when the veterans agent was on. We also have tree warden. If anybody knows anyone that's interested in being a tree warden, we need a tree warden. And the zoning board. And we just did yours. So I think that pretty much covers everything.
Okay.
And I would think, if, Madam Chair, if you want, at the next meeting, if everyone has the warrant, we could start voting on some of the warrant articles.
Sure. We were sent materials. I don't see it on here. On the agenda, but we were sent like Articles 17 and 18 from the annual.
Madam Chair, I got, at least I have in front of me, it looks like the whole warrant from Article 2 to,
Yes. But then we were sent, oh, and we did receive Articles 5 and 6 for water and sewer. But then the voltaic installations article and a
Right.
floodplain district article.
Well, one of the ones you could vote on tonight would be a simple one, the Chapter 90 article.
Okay. You like simple?
I'm trying to find what number that is. All right, usually that would be Article 2. And, as it states in the article, to enter into contracts for the expenditure of any funds allotted or to be allotted by the Commonwealth for the construction, reconstruction, and improvement of town roads. And so if you would like to vote that, our number is $551,444.65. And our Chapter 90 each year has started going down. And that is a reflection on the lack of increase in population, because there's three things that Chapter 90 goes by. They go by miles of road, your population, and the number of people working in your community. And so unfortunately, the state has really level funded Chapter 90 over the last several years. And by level funding it, they just split the pot up based on that formula. And because other communities' populations have been increasing and ours hasn't, we get hit. It's like $5,000 less this year than last year.
Okay. All right, well, the chair will entertain, or is there any discussion for Article 2? I'm sorry. The number was $551,444.65.
That's right.
Right off the top of my head. Just kidding, I wrote it down. Any questions? Seeing none. Paula, you ready?
Yes,
All right.
I didn't get that amount, 551.
Well,
Yep.
I gave you the wrong number, so good thing you didn't get it.
This is a test? Wait, this is the first one, Mike. We got to get the first one right. Come on.
That was 23. So it's going down, like I told you, $547,657.27.
So I move that we recommend to authorize the select board to accept and enter into contracts for the expenditures of $547,657.27. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right.
Second,
Thank you, Bill. I hear a motion and a second, so I will take a roll call vote. Kevin,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Trace,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and I too am a yes. That's 9, 10, 8. Unanimous. One down. However many left to go.
I don't know if you want to do Article 3 yet. Article 3 is a standard article that you usually do every year. This is for tree services. When Keith has large trees that he needs to call in someone to assist with a crane, or if there are trees that are near wires. Also stump removal. And the recommendation, the request is, $31,000.
Any questions or discussion on Article 3?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead. Is that Joe? Go
that
ahead.
was, Mike, did that number go up from last year, or is it the same?
It went up slightly. I forget what it was last year. I don't have it in front of me.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Mike, have we ever explored, and I don't know the extent of the capital be required to undertake this without outsourcing it. Is there an ROI to ever going down the capital path of getting a high lift bucket truck or something that we're lacking, or is the expenditure route the more financially feasible route?
We do have a bucket truck, but our men aren't wires. They can't work near wires, nor would I want them working near wires. So when there's trees that are near wires, that's when we have to call in other tree companies to do that.
Okay, it's a certification thing.
Yes. Yep. We actually bought I think we have 2 more payments left on our bucket truck.
Is the certification thing a liability thing that nobody's pursued it, or is it just something to do with National Grid that they don't want us near the wires?
No, it was really a decision I made a few years ago. We were actually in negotiations, and I know they were looking for they were looking for a stipend for being certified to work near wires. And that's when it dawned on me, like, I don't want our guys working near wires. I'd rather have some professional who deals with that all the time coming in than risking, what could happen.
Mike, that also come under the fact that all the equipment had to be certified and tested to the standard, so their gloves are all tested monthly to a standard and everything else if they're going to be anywhere near the hot stuff. And it got to be very cost prohibitive to look at, because we looked at it with the fire alarm even.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Anything else on Article 3?
Madam Chair,
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Yes, Paula.
I move that we recommend Article 3 to raise and appropriate $31,000 for tree services.
Second,
Hearing a motion and a second, I'll take a roll call. Kevin,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Trace,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and I too am a yes.
And I think that's it for,
Okay. That's it for this evening, besides our minutes we'll review.
Yep.
Wish I'd known, I would have sent you more minutes. I know we're meeting next Monday, which is the 10th. Do you have any sense, Mike, of how many, tell me when the warrants close and when we need to finish everything by?
Yeah, I'll send you a schedule tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you gonna meet on school vacation week?
That will depend on whether or not folks are around. I am not for one of the, or two of the dates, but Paula can cover it. And then Paula and I are actually both gone for one of the dates, and Bill so kindly said that he would cover it to run the meeting. So as long as we're gonna have a quorum. Does anyone here have any conflict with school vacation week?
I will be in warmer climates on school vacation week.
See you there.
I'm available the Wednesday evening of school vacation.
Well, we
week, but
don't
not the
typically
Monday.
meet, yeah, we don't typically meet on Patriots Day night anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, we would meet that Wednesday, to sort of keep up if everyone were around, but obviously if we're not gonna have a quorum, then we can't. So it sounds like just Zach and I are missing on, the 19th.
Wednesday, 19th.
Yeah, and so even if everyone else here is able to be there, that's 7, and then there's still Cody and this is Steve. The following Monday I have to miss as well. And that's the one that Paula and I will both miss, so Bill will take care of it.
But we don't meet on the 17th because it's Patriots Day. Is that the?
Right. We will not meet the 17th. We'll meet the 19th instead. And then I know the warrants have to close. The special closes later. Right, Mike?
Well, the warrants are closed. So it just,
But
you
the-
mean with your recommendations on it?
Right.
I'll get you those dates.
I just want everybody to be able to plan ahead and know that we won't be meeting beyond that so that they can have their Monday, whatever night's back.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Joe?
it looks like I'm booked for a class on the evening of Wednesday, the 19th, so
Mm,
it's not critical I'm there. I prefer to be there, but if we're desperate for a quorum, I can skip it.
you are gonna fail that class. No, I'm just kidding. I will check with Cody and Steve to make sure that they're around, and if enough people are gonna be here, we need 6, so enough people are gonna be here then.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Peter.
Peter.
Madam Chair, I'm iffy on the 19th. We're doing a college tour that day, so I'm not sure if we're gonna be back in time. So, well,
Robin like flies.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll be there.
Paul will be there.
Yep.
He will take care of everything.
Yeah, well, I'm available.
Awesome.
Lonnie,
Yes, Bill?
did you trick me into a really tough meeting the following
Um,
Monday?
I really hope so. I really, really do. I'm just kidding.
Bonnie, when's the meeting? What's the meeting about?
We're just talking about our schedule going forward, Peter. It'll be posted, don't worry. Okay, so all we have left to do tonight is the 2 sets of minutes for the 26th of September and the 3rd of October. Is that right, Mike? You're all good? Okay.
All right,
Thank
thank you. Bye.
Okay, so let's talk about September 26th, 2022 minutes. Does anyone have anything to edit, discuss, question? Nor do I don't think. It's a pretty long one, so let me just check.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Paula?
it looks like she duplicated something in here.
Okay.
Second page, Ms. Daniels motion to reconsider Article 1, prior year bills, what's bolded, and then she put it again.
Okay.
Am I seeing that correctly?
I wish I had thought to
It just looks duplicated.
That's odd, but no, you're right.
Did we do it twice in a row?
I don't see that.
I'm just sorry.
Kevin, from the top row.
Maybe, but I don't really remember. This is a long time ago.
Exactly. We cannot be expected to know these things. Sometimes the nights get late. Rarely is it on page 2 that happens. All right, anything else anybody sees as a change for September 26th? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes from September 26th, 2022 with those changes.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I motion that we accept the minutes from September 26th of 2022 with the mentioned edit.
Second.
thank you. Kevin,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Trace,
Abstain.
Sandy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Paul,
Same.
Zach. Did we lose Zach?
No, yes,
there
I
you
said hello, hello, hello.
I didn't
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me now?
Now I hear you. And me, I'm a yes. So that's 7 and 2 abstentions. Cool. All right, October 3rd. The minutes from October 3rd, 2022. Any comments or changes?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Bill.
I think it's page 3 near the bottom bolded. My name is misspelled.
I saw that too. Okay. And right above that, it says Plannings Board. So just a little typo. Anything else? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion to accept these minutes as well.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Paula?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from October 3rd, 2022 with the one edit.
Great. Kevin? Did anyone second? I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Kevin?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Trace?
Abstain.
Sandy?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Paul?
Abstain.
Zach?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Is there any other business to come before the board this evening?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Zach.
did you want to have any discussion on the letter you sent us just prior to this meeting?
I sure can read it. I'm not sure what open meeting law says about, other than, I think we can discuss it. I don't know that we could take any votes in reference to it. Mike's not here anyway, but, I certainly can read it and open up for discussion. Oh, I can read it on there, so hold on 1 second. So this is an email from Lucas Ray. It says, Dear Mr. Town Manager, Select Board Chair, School Committee Chair, and Finance Committee Chair. I'm writing to you to request immediate attention on a matter I feel is of extreme importance to the safety of Norton's children. As you're aware, gun incidents in schools have been on the rise, and for the last 10 years, additionally, the target of elementary schools seems to have increased with Newtown, Connecticut, Uvalde, and now with the recent events of Nashville, Tennessee. Each of these incidents, there were 2 major factors that resulted in tragic outcomes. The first was response time, and the second was the absence of a school resource officer, SRO. In Norton, I believe we have been blessed till now to have not had these incidents. This could be because of a well-trained police force and SROs in the high school, middle school, and sporadic coverage at the Yale, LGN, and JCS elementary schools. It could also just be pure luck. However, with the recent national attacks on the elementary schools, sporadic coverage is no longer enough. I'm asking the town fully fund a total of 3 SROs, 1 for the Yale, LGN, and JCS, and that the school committee accept these officers into the elementary systems. In doing my research and investigation to make SROs possible, I've learned that Norton currently has officers already trained to fill these SRO positions, and I estimate that the annual cost to fund these individuals would be approximately $270,000 per year. While I understand this number is large for the town budget, I am haunted by the question, how much is a child's safety and life worth? The answer is more than $270,000. Also, I've researched for the past 20 years from 2002 to 22 and found that in the United States there have been over 7,000 shooting related incidents on school properties. These are incidents where a gun is brandished, is fired, or a bullet hits school property for any reason. In any one of those instances, a properly trained SRO would be the first to respond. Lastly, I have 3 children, 2 of which were in elementary school back in 2012. Dropping my children off at school the day after Newtown, Connecticut massacre was the hardest thing I've ever done. I am sure plenty of parents can relate to the pit I had in my stomach that day. Since that incident, I have been a strong advocate for SROs in our school. So when I hear the phrase knee jerk, or I hear people say, what are the odds? Then I think of the parents who have lost children to these senseless tragedies. What were the odds for those parents? I think most people have the mindset that these things happen somewhere far away and it's always someone else's kids, until the day that it is not. And I pray that that day never comes for my hometown. But God forbid if it did, then I want to make sure that I did my part to give the most precious things in our lives, our children, the protection they deserve. We can place officers at courthouses, concerts, shopping malls, and political events, so why can't we place them at every school? Why does Norton, Massachusetts only have 2 schools protected, and who makes the decision which kids in schools are protected and which are not? Why is the high school and the middle school a priority over the elementary schools? As for the opponents of this initiative or those who claim we cannot afford it, I ask you this. Norton currently has a $70 million budget. I challenge anyone to find me one line item in that budget that is more important than the safety of our children. I have enlisted and received community support for this initiative and will be happy to personally present to any board necessary, and would ask that this email be read into the public meeting at the next scheduled meeting. Thank you for your time, Lucas Ray. Open it up for discussion. Anyone would like to comment?
Madam Chair, I would certainly like to see Chief Clark weigh in on it for starters. And then if you look at the Nashville shooting, they shot their way into a door. There are so many doors at each one of the schools that even if you had a school resource officer standing at the main entrance, by the time he made it to the back of one of the schools to try to defuse it, there's still going to be a lot of deaths and carnage and stuff. So it's just, I'm just not sure unless you actually bulletproof the schools, all of the downflow windows, at what point. I'm not for or against it. I'm just saying that it just seems like it's a daunting task, and I hope the hell it never does happen here in Norton.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Bill.
with the schools door and window replacement, I thought we asked, and I thought Dr. Baeta responded that the bottom floors windows and doors are bullet resistant. I thought was his answer, not really bulletproof per se, but resistant, which I guess, would provide a little time for a response, whether it be a
Safety.
officer on the campus or from the police department. But I think along with Chief Clark, we would need Dr. Baeta back to kind of verify that that was the upgrade that we've just funded over the past couple of years.
Thank you, Bill.
Madam Chair? Go ahead, Cindy.
Yeah, I just to follow up, I guess, on what Bill and Paul were saying, I would definitely like to hear from Police Chief and also Dr. Baeta to hear what their thoughts are on this. And they're the ones would have to implement it. So I think that their input would be super valuable. I also had a question from Mike, and I should have asked it while I was here. I was wondering if the community impact fees that we get from the retail marijuana. I know some towns have used that money for resource officers. I didn't know if that was something we would be willing to do. Just thinking about ways to offset if this is something that's supported by the police and the schools, how that could be paid for.
Sure, good question. Any other thoughts, questions?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Zach.
I just, touching on the comments everybody else made, I think the gentleman has, I don't know the gentleman personally, has legitimate concerns, and it should be, we should have the police chief and the superintendent in, to have a discussion on it, at least. And the way, to Bill's point, the way I understood it, when they did the project was the first floor windows were ballistic grade glass, but I don't think they're resistant to these assault weapons that are being used today. They stop a handgun, but they're not going to stop an AK-47 or what you've seen going on in these other shootings. But I just think it's a legitimate concern that we should have a follow-up on.
Agree. Any other thoughts to share? I am not seeing any, so I don't think that this is the last we will probably be hearing about or talking about this. I just wanted to read it into record as the gentleman suggested. So thank you to Bill for reminding me. Any other
Bonnie, procedurally, at what point does the recommendations or the budgets, if you will, get frozen so that couldn't be added in, if you would, type of a thing? At what point does it get excluded?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of us
okay.
here can speak to that, but yeah, if Mike were still here, we could have asked him, but we don't have any information yet, so since it is so early on if there were a process and there were consensus to move forward, I think we would have to find out from him.
Can't the budgets technically be updated and amended up to and including the day of town meeting?
Technically, yes. We, for lots of really good reasons, have decided that is not something we care to do anymore because there was so many changes being made.
Sure.
We didn't feel it was, in the past few years, at least since I've been on the board, 5 years, we felt that it wasn't fair to townspeople to be continuing to make changes. And so then the warrant didn't match, numbers didn't match what was printed in the warrant. But for something like this, I think that exceptions have been made, and if it were something that could be discussed and determined how to handle it in the next 5 or 6 weeks or whatever it is, that is probably something that an exception could be made for.
Yeah, but I agree, Joe, to try to come up with 270 from the town meeting floor, it's got to be taken out of somewhere else to keep everything balanced. So that would be a real nightmare in the floor. So
It definitely would be, and I'm even thinking that based on conversations that have been had in the past, that changing that 270 may be contentious at town meeting one way or the other.
Yes. I think you're right. We've all been there to see this, unfortunately. Yeah, so we'll just stick around and stay tuned to find out.
Madam Chair, when is town meeting again? Refresh my memory. What's the date of town meeting?
Monday, May 15th. Peter, you know what? Let me do my job, Peter. I'm teasing. Thank you, Peter. You're the best. Any other?
That doesn't mean you get to plan vacation that day, Zach, by the way.
Conveniently, he's unavailable.
I have a school teacher wife, so I can only go on school vacation weeks.
That's right. Okay. Since it appears, it's 8 o'clock on the dot. We love that. Since it appears there is no more business to come before the board, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Paula.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Couple of seconds, 2 seconds. I will take the roll call vote. Kevin,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Trace,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Paul,
yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and I too am a yes. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.